girl blushed once more and told them that dessert was apple pie a la mode. That's with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Christmas cake a la mode, or a red and green whipped pudding. Wednesday stared into her eyes and told her that he would try the Christmas cake a la mode. Shadow passed. Now, as grifts go, said Wednesday, the fiddle game goes back 300 years or more. And if you pick your chicken correctly, you could still play it anywhere in America tomorrow. I thought you said that your favorite grift was no longer practical, said Shadow. I did indeed. However, that is not my favorite. No, my favorite was the one they called the Bishop game. It had everything: excitement, subterfuge, portability, surprise. Perhaps, I think, from time to time, perhaps with a little modification it might. He thought for a moment, then shook his head. No, its time has passed. It is, let us say, 1920, in a city of medium to large size, Chicago perhaps, or New York, or Philadelphia. We are in a jeweler's emporium. A man dressed as a clergyman, and not just any clergyman, but a bishop in his purple, enters and picks out a necklace, a gorgeous and glorious confection of diamonds and pearls, and pays for it with a dozen of the crispest $100 bills. There's a smudge of green ink on the topmost bill, and the store owner, apologetically but firmly, sends the stack of bills to the bank on the corner to be checked. Soon enough, the store clerk returns the bills. The bank says they are none of them counterfeit. The owner apologizes again, and the bishop is most gracious. He well understands the problem. There are such lawless and ungodly types in the world today. Such immorality and lewdness abroad in the world. And shameless women. And now that the underworld has crawled out of the gutter and come to live on the screens of the picture palaces, what more could anyone expect? And the necklace is placed in its case, and the store owner does his best not to ponder why a bishop of the church would be purchasing a $1,200 diamond necklace, nor why he would be paying good cash money for it. The bishop bids him a hearty farewell and walks out on the street, only for a heavy hand to descend on his shoulder. Why soapy, yes, Spalpeen, up to your old tricks, are you? And a broad beat cop with an honest Irish face walks the bishop back into the jewelry store, begging your pardon. But has this man just bought anything from you? Asks the cop. Certainly not, says the bishop. Tell him I have not. Indeed he has, says the jeweler. He bought a pearl and diamond necklace from me, paid for it in cash as well. Would you have the bills available, sir? Asks the cop. So the jeweler takes the $1,200 bills from the cash register and hands them to the cop, who holds them up to the light and shakes his head in wonder. Oh, soapy, he says. These are the finest that you've made yet, your craftsman that you are. A self-satisfied smile spreads across the bishop's face. You can't prove anything. You can't prove nothing, says the bishop. And the bank said that they were on the level. It's the real green stuff. I'm sure they did, agrees the cop on the beat, but I doubt that the bank had been warned that Soapy Sylvester was in town, nor of the quality of the $100 bills he'd been passing in Denver and in St. Louis. And with that, he reaches into the bishop's pocket and pulls out the necklace. $1,200 worth of diamonds and pearls in exchange for 50 cents worth of paper and ink, says the policeman, who is obviously a philosopher at heart, and passing yourself off as a man of the church. You should be ashamed, he says, as he claps the handcuffs on the bishop, who is obviously no bishop. He marches him away, but not before he gives the jeweler a receipt for both the necklace and the 1,200 counterfeit dollars. It's evidence, after all. Was it really counterfeit? Asked Shadow. Of course not. Fresh banknotes, straight from the bank, only with a thumbprint and a smudge of green ink on a couple of them to make them a little more interesting. Shadow sipped his coffee. It was worse than prison coffee. So the cop was obviously no cop. And the necklace? Evidence, said Wednesday. He unscrewed the top from the salt shaker, poured a little heap of salt on the table, but the jeweler gets a receipt and assurance that he'll get the necklace straight back as soon as Soapy comes to trial. He is congratulated on being a good citizen, and he watches proudly, already thinking of the tale he'll have to tell at the next meeting of the Odd Fellows tomorrow night. as the policeman marches the man pretending to be a bishop out of the store, $1,200, and the other, on their way to a police station that I'll never see hide nor hair of either of them. The waitress had returned to clear the table. "Tell me, my dear," said Wednesday, "are you married?" She shook her head. Astonishing that a young lady of such loveliness has not yet been snapped up. He was doodling with his finger and the fingernail and the spilled salt, making squat, blocky, rune-like shapes. The waitress stood passively again beside him, reminding Shadow less of a fawn and more of a young rabbit caught in an 18-wheeler headlights, frozen in fear and indecision. Wednesday lowered his voice so much so that Shadow, only across the table, could barely hear him. "What time do you get off work?" 9, she said, swallowed. 9:30 at latest. "And what is the finest motel in this area?" "There's a Motel 6, she said. "It's not much." Wednesday touched the back of her hand fleetingly with the tips of his fingers, leaving crumbs of salt on her skin. She made no attempt to wipe them off. "To us," he said, his voice an almost inaudible rumble, "it shall be a pleasure palace." The waitress looked at him. She bit her thin lips, hesitated, then nodded and fled for the kitchen. "Come on," said Shadow. She looks barely legal." "I've never been overly concerned about legality," Wednesday told him, "and I need her, not as an end in herself, but to wake me up a little. Even King David knew that there is one easy prescription to get warm blood flowing through an old frame. Take one, virgin. Call me in the morning." Shadow caught himself wondering if the girl on night duty in the hotel back in Eagle Point had been a virgin. "Don't you ever worry about disease?" he asked. "What if you knock her up? What if she's got a brother?" "No," said Wednesday. "I don't worry about diseases. I don't catch them. Unfortunately, for the most part, people like me fire blanks. So there's not a great deal of interbreeding. It used to happen in the old days. Nowadays, it's impossible, but so unlikely as to be almost unimaginable. So no worries there. And many girls have brothers and fathers, and it's not my problem. 99 times out of 100, I've left town already. So we're staying here for the night." Wednesday rubbed his chin. "I shall stay in the Motel 6, he said. Then he put his hand into his coat pocket. He pulled out a front door key, bronze-colored, with a card tag attached, on which was typed on an address, 502 North Ridge Road, apartment number 3. "You, on the other hand, have an apartment waiting for you in a city far from here." Wednesday closed his eyes for a moment, then he opened them, a gray and gleaming and fractionally mismatched, and he said, "The Greyhound bus will be coming through town in 20 minutes. It stops at the gas station. Here's your ticket." He pulled out a folded bus ticket, passed it across the table. Shadow picked it up and looked at it. "Who's Mike Ainsel?" he asked. "That was the name on your ticket." "You are. Merry Christmas. And where's Lakeside?" "Your happy home in the months to come, and now, because good things come in threes." He took a small gift-wrapped package from his pocket, pushed it across the table. It sat beside the kitchen bottle with the black smears of dried ketchup on the top. Shadow made no move to take it. "Well?" Reluctantly, Shadow tore open the red wrapping paper to reveal a fawn-colored calfskin wallet, shiny from use. It was obviously somebody's wallet. Inside the wallet was a driver's license with Shadow's photograph on it, in the name of Michael Ainsel, with a Milwaukee address, a MasterCard for M. Ainsel, and 20 crisp $50 bills. Shadow closed the wallet, put it into an inside pocket. "Thanks," he said. "Think of it as a Christmas bonus. Now let me walk you down to the Greyhound. I shall wave you to as you ride the gray dog north." They walked outside the restaurant. Shadow found it hard to believe how much colder it had gotten in the last few hours. It felt too cold to snow now, aggressively cold. This was a bad winter. "Hey, Wednesday, both of the scams you were telling me about, the violin scam and the bishop one, the bishop and the cop," he hesitated, trying to form his thought to bring it into focus. "What of them?" Then he said it. "They're both two-man scams, one guy on each side." "You used to have a partner?" Shadow's breath came in clouds. He promised himself that when he got to Lakeside, he would spend some of his Christmas bonus on the warmest, thickest winter coat that money could buy. Yes, said Wednesday. Yes, I had a partner, a junior partner, but alas, those days are gone. There's the gas station, and there, unless my eye deceives me, is the bus. It was already signaling its turn into the parking lot. Your address is on the key, said Wednesday. If anyone asks, I am your uncle, and I shall be rejoiced in the unlikely name of Emerson Borson. Settle in Lakeside, nephew Ainsel. I'll come for you within the week. We shall be traveling together, visiting the people I have to visit. In the meantime, keep your head down and stay out of trouble. My car? Said Shadow. I'll take good care of it. Have a good time in Lakeside, Wednesday. He thrust out his hand and Shadow shook it. Wednesday's hand was colder than a corpse's. Jesus, said Shadow, you're cold. Then the sooner I'm making the two-backed beast with the little hotsy-totsy lads from the restaurant in a back room of the Motel 6, the better. And he reached out his other hand and squeezed Shadow's shoulder. Shadow experienced a dizzying moment of double vision. He saw the grizzled man facing him, squeezing his shoulder, but he saw something else. So many winters, hundreds and hundreds of winters, and a gray man in a broad-brimmed hat walking from settlement to settlement, leaning on his staff, staring and through windows at the firelight and a joy and a burning life he would never be able to touch, never even be able to feel. Go, said Wednesday, his voice a reassuring growl. All is well, and all is well, and all shall be well. Shadow showed his ticket to the driver. A hell of a day to be traveling, she said. And then she added, with a certain grim satisfaction, Merry Christmas. The bus was almost empty. When will we get into Lakeside? Asked Shadow. 2 hours, maybe a bit more, said the driver. They say there's a cold snap coming. She thumbed a switch and the doors closed with a hiss and a thump.